Do you ever find yourself asking the question, am I going to have enough here? Am I going to be enough here? So much is asked of me, and I don't know if I have enough to go around. When you hear that Christ offered peace in the midst of any storm, have you ever asked, what about this storm? Is this storm too intense? How can peace come in the midst of all this trouble? When you hear the word grace, what comes to your mind? We're told his grace is enough. Have you ever felt a little left out in the cold and you think, I'm not sure this grace is going to cover me here? If you had to choose right now, what would you choose as the best day of your life? It might have been your wedding day, or the day that you discovered you were going to have a baby, or maybe the moment you first held that little lamb in your own arms. Perhaps you worked long and hard for a promotion and you finally got it and you think, yes. But even in the best days of life, if we're honest, don't you think there's always a little something missing? Something just slightly not as amazing as we feel we could contain. Why is that? C.S. Lewis talks of this pull for something more as absolute evidence that God exists. He said that when he was a little boy, he said he longed for beauty, for holiness, for the eternal, for something beyond this earth. But then he became an atheist, and he said all those impulses are just imaginary. But then he asked himself, could I even have a longing for something that doesn't exist? So for C.S. Lewis, this was evidence that something greater, better, was what we have all been created for, that there's something far more than just this life. Something was pulling him that only the eternal could satisfy. Perhaps when you hear a text like, all things work together for good, to those who love God and are the called according to his purpose. Have you ever asked, how could anything good come from this? We're told that nothing at all can separate us from the love of God in Christ. But do you ever feel as if you're somehow out there alone in a storm? You know that God exists, but has he left you to walk through this one alone? Perhaps like me, you've asked some of these questions. Well, welcome. That's why we're here.